Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of The Feedback. I am one of your hosts, Scooby, starting a new tradition this week where we are going to talk about the beverages that we are consuming throughout this podcast. Why? I don't know. I wanted to do something new. So tonight, my beverages of choice, as I'm double fisting, are, of course, the traditional water. And because I'm a man who does not enjoy the taste of alcohol, but sometimes still consumes alcoholic beverages, I have an Arizona hard pink lemonade, the manliest of beverages. Steven, what are you drinking tonight? And why don't you tell everyone what the show is all about? Which they should know by this
Sure,
point, but in case they're new.
of course. So tonight I actually finished my water earlier and didn't refill my bottle, so I'm double fisting with no water. I have a summer edition, the white peach Red Bull, because
Dude,
it's Friday.
that's
Why
so
not?
good. That is so good.
It
I
is.
love that so much.
It's a delicious one for sure. I actually liked the last peach one a little bit more because it reminded me of peach rings, but it was a little bit too sweet. And I also have my favorite soda in the world, a wild cherry Pepsi. So now that you know what we're here with today, we are the feedback. And we're a couple of guys that like to hang out. You know what? I'm going to say a couple gentlemen because you wanted to do it and it sounds right. We're a couple gentlemen hanging out, sharing music with ourselves, sharing music with you guys. Usually it's something new that the person introducing you to the show, i.e., me, has never heard before, or we are trying to make that happen. And we've been pretty successful so far. I feel like only one or two times it's happened where we didn't have a complete surprise episode. But yeah, that's what we're here for. We're here to talk about that. We're here to go off on tangents, have a little bit of fun, and share music with you, and hopefully you share the music with somebody else later. So now that you know what we're drinking as a new tradition, and now that you know what we're about as an old tradition, why don't you let us know what we're listening to today, Scoops?
So today I have brought an instrumental track, which we've done a couple of. I think it's been a while though. And this is going to be one of those sort of. We have spoken about this before, where there is a band that we have heard a song from. We really enjoy it. And then that's the only song that we like by that band.
Yeah, I think our last recording was a song that from a new artist that I had just found myself, and I was obsessed with just that song.
Yeah, that. And to be honest, I actually went and listened to that album, and I gotta say, it's very enjoyable. If you haven't listened
It
to
is.
last week's episode yet, that was the song was Inside, and the band was Skin Shape, and it's a very good chill album. So that was a good recommendation to bring to the show.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I agree. I think that was the same general feeling that I had from it, and that's kind of what I was hoping to bring with it. So I'm glad it worked.
Yeah. So today the band is called Vitalism. The song is called Yami Obi, and I'm not quite sure if that's how it's pronounced, but I'm reading it phonetically, man.
Hey, that's how I would say it too. So I'm here with it.
Yeah, the song comes from their 2017 EP called Psy. It is just literally spelled SY. Genre wise, I would say it's djent metal, like in that sort of melodic metal with a lot of chugs, but also there's some jazz in there, and there's a couple different things that really catch my attention. I think when you listen to it, you'll be able to tell what those are. And I'm not going to say the instruments on it because that'll give it away. What I will talk about is they have guest musicians who play the instruments that I'm not going to refer to. The main members of the band, however, are Ed Garcia on guitar, Bruno Ladislau on bass, and Demetrius Locks on drums. And I don't think I mentioned it. I think I said it before we actually started the podcast that this band is from Brazil, actually from Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah, you definitely mentioned it earlier when we were first discussing things because I opened up the stream early and I said, I don't know how to say this word. And that's what you told me,
Yeah.
that they're from Brazil, and that's why I don't know how to say those words.
And yeah, so this I remember finding this song when I first started using Spotify, and it didn't know my algorithm at all because it hadn't been established. So it was just kind of like throwing stuff at the wall for me because they were like, I don't know what you like to listen to because you haven't used our services before. Now this song came on and I was like, oh, this song's great. Like, I love this. And then because I liked it, Spotify was like, Oh, you love Djent. And that's all it would recommend to me for like months afterwards while I was going through and liking all the artists I actually like, trying to sort the algorithm out. It took a long time.
It's actually funny that you mentioned that because I've recently made the switch from Spotify to Apple Music, and I had to, like you just said, reteach the algorithm to Apple Music, and it's been an uphill battle because I think I disclosed this once before, but like I let my kid pick music in the car and kind of choose music because I mean I want him to be able to share what he likes, and I also want to know what he's interested in so I can suggest other music to him. Um, and sometimes he'll put on like these YouTube artists, and for the first month, I was getting the worst recommendations on Apple Music. I'm like, I'm just gonna not listen to any music today.
That doesn't sound like a good time at all.
No, no, it's not. But I mean, it's better now because, like you said, you kind of go through and you're liking what you actually like, and then thanks to the different stuff that we were doing too, it kind of helped bolster it a little bit faster. And then, but I'm glad that you mentioned how you found them because you do like to listen to this type of music. You've brought last week's, as of this recording, it was last week's airing, was Jacob Sateki. Wait,
Yes.
and it was the same thing. It was Djent, and it was musical, no lyrics.
Yeah. Very true.
What are the words?
What are the words? No words. There were none. No words.
But
Got it. Nailed it.
you did. And I'm actually, so yeah, as you said, I'm glad you mentioned that it just randomly suggested this to you on Spotify because I was going to ask if you knew who the guest artists were and that's how you found it, or if that's why you liked it, considering you said it's the only one that you know by them and the only one that you really listened to. So now I'm even more excited to hear it because it's almost similar to how I found last week's recorded. It was yeah, Skin Shape was finding them just accidentally and being like, all right, cool, this is great.
Yeah. I'll say a little bit more after we listen to the tracks. I don't want to give it all away, but
Ooh, he's a man of mystery, ladies. You hear that?
that's right. Very mysterious am I. Anyways, are you good? You ready to jump on
I'm
in?
good to go.
All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
So this is Yami Obi by Vitalism. So now that we have listened to the track, I could say that the two guest musicians on this track, excuse me, provided the piano and saxophone, which are not normally part of the lineup. The piano was provided by Josu Epindola, and the saxophone was by Clayton Gomes. Whoa, I don't know if you could hear the train horn, but there must be a train going by outside my apartment. Holy cow.
I can faintly hear it. Yep. I don't know if it'll pick up later or not, but if not, that's okay. If it does, cool. If it doesn't, also cool. Talking about those instruments that you said, I heard the saxophone, and I was wondering if it was on your surprise saxophone playlist.
Hell yeah, it was one of the first songs on it.
That's awesome. Was that the inspiration for it?
I think so. It was probably this, and I think a Bill Murray track. That was back before there was saxophone on like every Bill Murray track, which I'm not complaining about, by the way.
Right. Definitely not a complaint whatsoever. But yeah, then I have here piano. Because I was like, what? Yeah, I'm glad that you didn't tell me that it was coming, because it was better to be surprised, I feel, in most of those instances. And two, they were great. They definitely were something that you didn't expect to see on there at all. Because like you said, you don't think when you're going to hear some form of metal of any real kind. And then, I mean, maybe I'm stereotyping it, but you don't think that you're going to be hearing piano and saxophone. And then you also, since you wouldn't think that it's coming, it works so well. Like, it fit into the piece quite well. And it wasn't like, what am I listening to when it happened? It was like, oh shit, this is pretty cool.
Yeah. And I think I've heard this song described, I think to me, like personally, from people who I have played it for, that they've called this like metal elevator music, which I can kind of
I can see that.
And again, it sounds kind of derogatory, but I love jazz. So when people are like, that sounds like elevator music, I'm like, yeah, man. Did you ever listen to Local on the 8s, the Weather Channel, when you were a kid? That was my jam. Smooth jazz? Hell yeah. So when you take it and you combine it with another genre, I don't know, it scratches a part of my brain that usually I don't realize is itching, but when I hear it, I'm like, ooh, I really like that. And now that I've brought that up, I kind of want to start a playlist that is elevator metal music, and I've got like 3 songs that can go on it already. This is one of them.
I mean, that's a pretty good start for a elevator music playlist, I would say. And then I also want you to try to find a building that'll allow you to take over their elevator music with it.
I do, and not to branch off too much, but I have a playlist called Chill Ass Mall, which I think would be like, you would go there and you would just want to hang out because the music playing over the loudspeakers is so cool. I don't go to malls anymore. Who's been to a mall in the past 20 years? Do they play music over the loudspeakers still? Is that a thing?
No, I don't think so. I think like they'll have some stuff going on for like Christmas time, but usually the music's being played per store if a store has a play on it at all. Or the mall that I go to is just too crowded and they don't turn the music up that loud where I never hear it. But I think the era of that music that you're hearing and thinking of too is just, we also were going to the mall at the time when there was still music stores in the mall, so they played their music loud there and to draw you in. And then also we had the genre, or the era of early American Eagle, Abercrombie Fitch, Hollister, Hot Topic, and Spencer's, and all 5 of them were all blasting different clashing music always.
That's very true.
It was just when we grew up. It's not our fault.
Yeah.
But to reel it all the way back in, because we got off there for a minute, yes, I agree. The parts of having that like elevator metal music tag to it isn't a bad call out. I think it's a fun one too. I don't know if they'd appreciate it, but for me, it felt like it was like a song that would be playing from the orchestra at a play. I don't know what the play is about. Maybe it's about what we were watching on the music video. And for those of you that didn't pause our show to watch the music video, or those that did, or those of you that are going on later, I'm sorry if I'm spoiling it for you. So quick spoiler alert. Fast forward now. But the music video is a really nice symbolism. And since you did tell us that it was from Brazil, I'm going to assume that it's about one of the the tribes that were originally from there, one of the native tribes. There we go. And a story of some kind, maybe, maybe not, who knows. It was very beautifully drawn, and um, it kind of felt like it was like a spiritual journey, like a rite of passage journey that they were kind of showing through the symbolism, in my opinion, with the one member and the jaguar, or I'm sorry, the leopard, and then seeing what looked like some kind of a deity. It was very cool, and it looked really beautiful for what was going on with the music, and it definitely does well to tie together. I don't know how I would have if I would have visualized anything like that if I listened to just the song first. So for those of you that did listen blind, good, and those of you that didn't, let me know what you thought of it too. Let us know in the comments later what you thought, because it'd be interesting to see what the people that didn't watch thought of the song too. Because obviously, music is a medium. We don't need to have the visuals always, but the visuals are a big part of it, like we've talked before. So it'd be very interesting to see what other people thought of it without seeing it, because the video was very cool, and it definitely does a lot for the song, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know for certain. It does seem to be telling a story, but I think it's very kind of loose and open to interpretation. I do think that it has the, like you said, or maybe it's not quite exactly what you said, but it seemed like a sort of rite of passage sort of thing, and then a sort of maybe ascension at the end, which, I wouldn't, like you said, really attribute a sense of spiritualism to this song, but the video certainly seems to get that sort of vibe across. And like you said, it works really well, even if it's not quite what you're expecting when you go into it.
hmm I actually just realized I should have asked you, because you said you found it on accident. Not maybe on accident, but it was suggested to you. So what did you think when you first heard the song? Because you did hear it first without seeing it.
I again, like I just said, I wouldn't have attributed any sort of spiritualism to it, which and it's not even clear that that is what they were doing in the video. It's just sort of what we gleaned from it, which it might be just like calling a spade a spade. What I saw
Right.
is how I'm going to interpret it and not read anything super deep into it. But without seeing the video first, I don't know. It really has like a feel good vibe to it, which in terms of metal is, I don't want to say rare, but it's less experienced. A lot of times when you listen to metal, and I'm talking like metal, not sort of this easy core sort of like a Day to Remember type stuff, which is more
Right.
pop punk with breakdowns. When you listen to metal, it normally doesn't have a very positive vibe to it. Like one of the few bands I can think of that does, that I will always talk about, is August Burns Red. They always have a sort of positive feeling to their music, even though it's heavy and it's got those breakdowns and those chugs and lots of tapping, which I don't know if I brought this up before, but whenever I talk about August Burns Red, I say they've got the happy tappies. When they write their music, it's primarily done in a metal key, or not metal, well, yes, a metal key, but a major key, which is a much more positive and uplifting sound. Or they'll start in a minor key and then hit a point where they switch to a major key, and you're like, oh, there's that like uplifting sort of feeling. This track has that throughout, really, where one of the very first things you hear is that main riff with the guitar and the saxophone, and you're just like, oh, okay, yes, I like the feeling this gives me. And then it breaks down into sort of that, I was gonna say instrumental break, the entire song's instrumental, but with the piano. When the piano starts up, it has a much more relaxed and laid back vibe, which again is something that you don't experience quite as much in metal. So I think it brings a really unique feeling to it, which, to go back to how I started talking about this song, it's kind of unfortunate because I have gone and listened to more of their music, and while it's not bad, this is the only song that sounds like this. Which to me is a bummer, because I want more of this. And not that the rest of their music is bad, it's just not what I want.
So, from what you have listened to, what is missing from it? Is it that general positive key that you were just discussing, or was it also the piano slash saxophone?
The piano slash saxophone. It's
Okay.
mostly sort of like it does sort of have the same vibe, the same sort of feeling, but
Hmm.
when you're missing those extra instruments, it kind of doesn't feel exactly the same.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's kind of one of those things that we've mentioned in the past, where you, and I think you even said it earlier, maybe in a different sense, but you have that itch and it's not scratching it. Like when you like a certain artist because the certain album that they put out for the first two or three, and it's like I like this year of this band because it makes me feel this way, or I like this exact song because it has this and this in it, and where it doesn't normally belong, I love it because it worked. But the one thing that I wanted to say too, and I'm glad you brought up the piano parts and the light parts of it again, was that what I really liked about it and what made it seem very familiar to me was that it feels like a Dance Gavin Dance song. I was gonna say I don't know if you noticed it or not, but yeah, like there's so many different parts of it where I was just waiting for someone to come in. I was waiting for mess. You know what I mean? I was like, come on,
Just some nonsense lyrics about rhinos and potatoes and yeah,
lemon meringue ties. And what color are your eyes?
exactly. No, I can definitely hear that, especially because now that you mention it, there is up to this point at least only one song I can think of that has saxophone in it. A Dance Gavin Dance song with saxophone in it, which is Summertime Gladness. But I don't think there are any others, but it's an addition that I would welcome to their music.
I mean, it would fit obviously. Like we just heard it here in an instrumental version. We heard it on "Summertime Gladness," and then we can imagine it happening any other time. So why not? Why not bring it in a little bit more often? Why not try it? I
Yeah,
understand it doesn't make sense for the general crowd that you kind of bring, but also we're not mad about it clearly.
exactly.
Nobody
Yeah,
booed on you when you released that song, right?
no,
Like and we've discussed it before. There's a fine line between all of the genres that we're listening to, and there's a very fine line of the dancing style that also goes into that. So like this is a song where you don't think that Dance Gavin Dance members would know about it, and they don't really do covers that I'm aware of. Maybe they do.
they've done two that I can think of.
Two?
Those were for the Pop Goes Punk albums. So
Oh, yes, 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 yes. I remember those.
yeah,
If you introduced them to this song and be like, yo, guys, what can you do to this?
yeah,
Like, because I would love to hear what they would do to this, honestly. Like, in the nicest way possible, I think that I love this song. I don't want to deter from that. But I would love to hear what they could do because I think they can make it better just because I'm a fanboy. Who cares? I'll just say it.
yeah. No, I get that. And like, as someone who listens to a lot of instrumental music, there are not many times where I will hear an instrumental track and be like, I wonder what this would sound like with lyrics. This is one of them where I can get that feeling where I'm like, it's not that the song sounds incomplete or anything, because it doesn't,
No, yeah.
but it would be interesting to hear what it sounds like with lyrics. And not that I would have had a particular lyricist or vocalist in mind, but now that you mention it, I'm like, oh, John Mess and, well, I'll just say Andrew Wells because right now he's the current lead vocalist for Dance Gavin
Hmm.
Dance. Really, any of the singers, like scumbag may he be, Johnny Craig is still a very talented singer.
Just don't buy any iPad or
MacBooks,
iBooks off
yeah.
them. MacBook words. Ugh. The fact that's still a thing that existed and people don't know that it happened, and
Oh,
then
it's been like 15 years, man, but it's still.
do you not remember? It was like right around COVID. He posted that he really was selling a real MacBook, and this time it was for real. Like he literally called himself out for this the whole shit that
I
happened,
do
but he
remember
was still
that.
trying to sell one.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, guys, you realize this is happening, right?
what world are we living in?
Oh man. But yeah, like you said, the choice of words. I mean, for all the things that he's gone through and done, and all the different whatever it is. Yeah, I can see. But man, the his voice and what he brought to the table. I don't know. I will always remain just, a fan of what he did for the bands that he was in and the sound that he brought,
Yeah.
because it was very unique.
I mean, at this point, we may as well also start like a Dance Gamma Dance podcast. But I do have to say, a couple weeks ago, I did see them live, and with Andrew at the helm, they played a lot of older stuff,
Yeah.
and he did a very good job singing Johnny's parts. So
Okay.
that was a very pleasant surprise. Like again, they pulled out from a song from Whatever I Say Is Royal Ocean, so that was like 2007, their very first
Yeah.
EP. They played Burning Down the Nicotine Armoire, and I was like, wow.
Oh God.
I was not
Okay.
expecting that, but it was good.
Damn. That'd be awesome. I'm actually very envious right now, but I will not discuss that. What I will discuss is, back on topic, is the bass line for this was phenomenal.
Yes. Yeah. I really think a lot of times when you hear an instrumental track, and it really depends, but it's normally the guitar that takes the lead, people just see guitar as a lead instrument, which is fine. Like, that's kind of
Well, that's
just...
because it's always lead guitar and rhythm guitar. They don't give lead bass and rhythm bass because that seems redundant.
Yeah, and that's true, but I think I've spoken about this before. I think I probably spoke about it in our very last episode, the Skin Shape one, where it was like, I really like when bass takes the lead. Or maybe not even for the entire song, but when it's prominent and it's doing its own thing and it's not following the guitar, that is, to me, very dynamic songwriting, and that's something that really catches your attention. That it's something that I try to do when I write music, is every instrument is kind of doing its own thing, where it interlocks and weaves together, but they're not following each other, but they're also not outdoing each other. So I think that is something that should be done, especially in instrumental tracks, where you can pick out what each instrument is doing and have it hold your attention, rather than just being like, oh, well, this bass line's boring, it's just steady eighth notes or whatever, I'm not going to really pay attention to this.
Right, when it's just kind of doing its job and not having any fun. But no, I agree completely with that. I think you couldn't have said it any better than what you said, so I'm not going to try. But yeah, I think that you hit the nail on the head, and every instrument does need to have its point, because the bass line in this, it really pulled hard, and like it came right between the saxophone and the piano, I believe, and it kind of carried through later on, but like it came really prominent at that point, if I'm remembering correctly, and I was like, oh hell yeah, I want to. It did what it's supposed to do. It made me want to follow it to see where the music was going, and it kind of shifted the feeling a little bit, where it was and where it was going to, and then brought it back in again, because it was there, and it, for lack of a better word, it was funky. It was a good jazz, like funky beat in there, which again, you don't really think you'd hear when you mentioned djent and metal, right? So yeah, like I would love to hear more in the same vein, like you kind of said, and it is kind of disheartening knowing that this is a one-off for them, and that I wish there were more things like this.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, a song that I can say that is very similar to this, not quite, I'd say it's like a lateral move, would be the song Summer Romance by Incubus. Because back in the day, Incubus had a very like funk metal sound. They
Yeah.
had it was much heavier. The lead singer Brendan was actually doing screams at that point, and the old bassist they had, I can't remember his full name. I think it was Dirk something, but he was an absolute beast. And that song, I just remember, it's very funky. I don't think it leans as heavy as this one does, but the bridge, there's a saxophone solo, and it's very like, I don't know where this came from, but I love it.
I wrote down here on my notebook to go listen to this song, because I do want to hear it now, because you are the way you're describing it is making me want to hear it, because I don't know that I know this song, Because one thing that I'm definitely bad at is remembering the names of songs, which is why I definitely rely on you heavily for that most of the time. Not gonna even pretend. Um, but I did listen to some Incubus growing up, so there's a chance that I'm familiar with it, especially because of the way you described it and how you described Incubus. Because I do like their sound, and it is very different, especially for when it's coming out, as you mentioned. And I'm here for it. So I definitely want to go hear that and hear the transition between the two because I definitely, like I said before, wanted more. I kind of wonder, like, is there maybe like what made them want to do this one-off kind of song like this, and if they got inspired by somebody else, and if so, who? So I can hear more of this.
Yeah.
Just like quickly write them an email and be like, "Hey guys, so remember this song that you wrote? Tell me more." And why?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to think about because you and I have a lot of the same musical sensibilities where we're like, we'll hear a song and be like, you should add horns to that. But
Yeah.
I feel like we kind of wouldn't show the restraint that a lot of professional artists do, where they're like, yeah, like, I'm going to choose one song to add horns to. Whereas you and I would be like, you're a ska band now. Add a 5-person horn section. Just be done with it.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I like how you're just trying to like as nicely as possible be like you I know us as in or someone else talking about us be like you guys you can't have a good thing, you can't just have a little bit of it, you gotta just keep going.
Yeah.
Like yep, no, you're right, and I'm sorry, but yep, you're right. You are now a ska band, everybody gets a horn.
Yeah.
You get a horn,
You
you
get a
get a
horn.
horn.
You get a horn. This is a big horn. You get a tuba.
Everybody gets horns. I mean, I feel like that's how you would start a ska band, right? All right, everybody. Those of you that are still here, look under your seats. Guess what? Oh, man. That'd be great. Do we just need to go ahead and also do a ska related only thing?
I mean,
I can't tell you that I would know enough to pull out, but you know that I'd want to listen to every single one of those songs and talk about them.
oh yeah, we could just do like ska discographies and just be like, hey, listen, we're not going to do ska on the feedback anymore. We have a ska adjacent podcast where it's all ska all the time.
That'll be on the Patreon for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how it'll start out. If we ever get to the point where we have a Patreon, where we are that wanted, and we do seek a situation where it works.
Yeah. Just our
It'll be an exclusive part. You have to like vote that you want it to happen, and then we'll find out.
yeah. It'll be the sister podcast.
It would have to be because it's going to be one of those ones where, like, I mean, realistically, I know there's a lot. I'm not trying to be a jerk when I say this, but like, how much do we really need to go into all of that? The material is finite, I feel.
It's finite, but there's enough, man. There's definitely enough.
It is quite niche, and there is actually, a plethora of albums and artists that do exist for it. So I guess, for a niche artist or a niche group, whatever, it does, Because I just recently found out, as in, like, the last 6 months, that City Pop was something that happened, and it was huge in Japan.
Oh yeah.
And it's very exclusive to, like, that area. And maybe not exclusive to that area, but, like, the surgence of it was exclusive to that area because it was just, like, a pop with heavy influences of jazz and funk from America because they thought that that stuff was really awesome, which I think is amazing to think that that existed. And there was such like a calling for it that there was a subgenre and whole groups over it. Like that's neat.
Yeah, one of my most recent finds, because this is just, I go through YouTube and I look up like compilations and mixes and stuff, and that's actually part of how I explore different genres, was there was a city pop remix of the Super Mario RPG soundtrack, and I was like, what is this? And it was real good. So it's just like combining all the things I love. It's like Super Mario RPG, video games, jazz, funky bass. I was like,
Yeah.
you can't go wrong.
a cultivated just for Scoobs genre of music that came out, and you're like, wow,
Pretty much.
yes, thank you.
The algorithm blessed me that day.
It did. I love when that happens. Just like it happened with this too, when you first downloaded Spotify and the first time you got to listen to Vitalism by Yami Obi,
Other way around,
right?
but yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yes. Sorry. Listen to Yami Obi by Vitalism.
Dude, yeah, I recently saw, how Facebook does that on this day thing.
Mm-hmm.
My early Spotify mixes were wild when it was trying to figure out what I listened to. Like, I posted one of them and it was like Slipknot, the Goo Goo Dolls, Tegan and Sarah, Audio Slave, Weezer. And it's like, what are you doing?
I gotta tell you, that sounds somewhat similar to one thing that I go get when it's like, hey, here's your, here's inspired by you. And it's like, ugh, I do have a lot of hard lefts in my music library for sure. I know I've discussed it before where I was just listening to it recently. I think it was the as of this recording, our third released episode. Wait, where I said it would be the if you had to make a reader's digest of a playlist that I created on a road trip, and it started with Khruangbin and ended with Parkway Drive, that would be, a 3-minute version of a 2-hour playlist that I would create.
Yeah.
And like, it kind of has that same thing where it has your metal side, it has your jazz side, and it has the two perfect choices right in the middle where it's like it's the perfect mixture of both.
Yeah, that sounds
That,
about right, honestly.
but I think that's all I had today on this song because there weren't much breakdown lyrically, and I mean that we could say a little bit more about that video. It was a very neat animation for sure, and it definitely was very beautiful, and like the symbolism that you can try to take from it because obviously they left it open to interpretation on purpose by having an instrumental song with that kind of video playing. Was there anything else that you wanted to discuss about the song today?
If I were, and I don't want to end this episode on a downer, I just wish that they had more tracks like this. And again, that's not throwing any shade at the rest of their music, which I find perfectly fine. It just
Mm-hmm.
doesn't hit the same as this track does.
I don't think that means you're on a downer. I think that's just like you're on a plea for creating more music. It's always good to want an artist to make more, right? It doesn't matter if it's that exact sound, but you're just like, keep making music and hopefully one day it'll have more of this in it.
Exactly.
You're encouraging extended creativity and longevity in the musical field.
Yes.
See,
I
a
can
nice
agree with that.
positive spin.
There you go.
Oh, I don't know what I just knocked over. But yeah, I would say I would agree with that, and I don't think that it would be a downer look at all. I would say that I do hope that they continue to create music and that they do hopefully come back to this sound or this influence wherever it came from and give us something else that is it doesn't even have to be the same vein. They could do something very different, but still include, a little piano, a little saxophone, maybe something else in there. Don't go full ska, but just keep playing around with the sound because it's fun. I like when bands explore.
Me too.
But yeah, so if that's about it for today, I'm gonna go ahead and pass it off to myself to fill you in on all the beautiful things that help us reach out to you and everybody else. That's right, because important long-winded information and ADHD don't mix. But I hope if you've made it to this point, you like what Scoops and I are doing, and hopefully you like it so much you want to shout it from the top of a mountain. But it would be a whole lot more helpful if you told your friends about us instead. Word of mouth or listening with someone is our favorite, but social media is also great, and you can interact with us there too. So please come by our Instagram, Blue Sky, or Facebook, where you can find us as The Feedback, or on Twitter, formerly known as Twitter /X, at @thefeedback_PC to see what's coming next, suggest a song, talk about our latest episode, or just talk about anything.
And now that you've hopefully gone and done all of the requisite social media things that hopefully will help us grow and expand so that we can do this more without having to worry about financial things. That's the dream, man.
It really is.
I would like to give a shout out to the artist who has created our intro and outro music. The track is Egg by the artist Exile. Definitely go give him a look if you enjoy what you hear. The rest of his music is in the same vein, that sort of EDM sound with some saxophone and flute, and it's very good music to vibe out to when you're doing some work, or just, I mean, even if you just want to listen to it for whenever. It's good stuff. So thank you, Exile. And I think that's just about it for us. Any final thoughts, Steven?
Go check out this song. Go watch the video if you haven't already. And then I'm going to go ahead and check out Incubus Summer Romance, and you should too.
All right.
Just to kind of hear where that kind of transition goes to.
I will pull it up and we can listen to it together after the episode's over.
Heck yeah.
All right. Thanks for... I almost said watching. Thanks for listening, everyone. And tune in next week for whatever we dig up next. Goodbye. Okay. Oh, and since I'm the one that brought the song, I start. I say the hello, and then you give...
You start with the hello, and then I say hello, and then I say, where's the
yes.
feedback?
I say no. Okay. And then we go into our...
It's actually funny. I've
spiel.
been listening to the Beatles lately, too.
Yeah? It's never a bad time
It
to
kind of
listen to
feels
the
like...
Beatles.
And then another thing, too, where I was kind of self-conscious, and it's going to happen eventually anyways. I don't remember which episode it was, and it might be one of the ones that isn't going to go to air, but I remember we were talking about Weezer the one time, and it was like, I was like, oh, you know, if you want to destroy my sweater, because, like, I don't remember why we brought it up or how we brought it up, but I was like, oh, man, we kind of, like, talk a little shit about Weezer, but I'm definitely going to listen to a Weezer song or two.
Everyone talks shit about Weezer because Weezer is like... Weezer is a band that has experienced the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. So even if you like Weezer, you have to understand that they still deserve some shit.
You're absolutely right.
Like, how do you go from,
right.
like, El Scorcho and fucking the Sweater Song to Pork and Beans and what was... Oh, Beverly Hills. Like, what is... Rivers. Come on, man.
Also, and if you do include that, you better include the fact that I want to follow up by saying I do not want to say that Weezer is as good as the Beatles.
Oh, okay.
Just because of that small comparison I made.
I get it. I got you.
No, I agree. I agree completely with everything. Oop, I just smacked my microphone because I have happy hands.